They put all this time and effort into that, but they forget what really is the soul of a facility. Boy, that's a tough one. I would say my greatest failure would be tennis. The failure would be I received a shoulder injury at the age of 27.
Can you give people insight into
Sure.
what Pickleball X is, as well as like where you've come from to be there?
Right. So Pickleball Kingdom is a franchise. We fit under that umbrella as an entity, Pickleball X. We will have 7 clubs by the first quarter of 2026 that we will own and manage.
Obviously, so many of us talk about it blowing up, right? What was it about pickleball, the growth of it, even the equity that's being poured into it, to establish a private equity group like Pickleball X that sees pickleball facilities as a great investment today? Why invest in Pickleball Kingdom specifically over these other franchises? What were some of these other facilities missing from a profitability standpoint? They told me that a magic number is 10 when it comes to courts. Is that a true thing?
They put all this time and effort into that, but they forget what really is the soul of a facility.
All right, Travis. So this is the Fail First podcast. So there's an opening question that we start every single podcast with, and you can imagine it has to be geared around failure.
Okay.
So that question is, what is your greatest failure?
My greatest failure?
Yes.
Boy, that's a tough one. I would say my greatest failure would be tennis.
Okay. Tell me why.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is, tennis being what it was some 30 years ago and the boom of tennis, it's very tough. Getting into not only as a junior, but also later in life coaching. But as a junior, I had early success due to having certain skills. The failure would be I received a shoulder injury at the age of 27, which required me, a month off, recovery and stuff like that. In doing so, excuse the alarm. In doing so, what I learned was a lot of off-court stuff, meaning, the tennis industry and all, being a good player, being kind of, have to be kind of put back together. It also taught me the gift that I had and to be humble. So that failure early on, injury, and really climbing that mountain as a player again was a big thing about 27, 28 years old.
First off, I want to say, for you to be able to still collect that thought with the alarms going on is pretty impressive.
I do my best.
Very impressive.
I know, right?
Following up with that, for everybody listening to get a little bit of your background and understanding of where you've come from. You've obviously been in the tennis space. You are the director of pickleball, not at necessarily Pickleball Kingdom, but Pickleball X.
Correct.
Can you give people insight into what Pickleball X is, as well as like where you've come from to be there?
Right. So Pickleball Kingdom is a franchise.
Yeah.
It's out of Arizona, and that's kind of the big umbrella, right? We fit under that umbrella as an entity, Pickleball X.
Yeah.
And Pickleball X, we own and manage Pickleball Kingdoms that we choose to open, being one here in Manchester. We will have 7 clubs by the first quarter of 2026 that we will own and manage. And Pickleball X, I came on board March of this year. Started out as just a GM of Centerville, Ohio's club. And during the journey of the next 60 days, it was determined if we're going to do this and on the scale that we want to do it, we needed a pickleball director. And fortunately, I was in the right spot at the right time and said, do you think you can do this? I can also say, not only was I the GM for the Centerville, Ohio location, but the Mason, Ohio, which is a little bit east of Cincinnati. So I've had a lot of experience within the last 8 months here of not only the pickleball facilities, pickleball programming, and, really just getting things up and running.
Were you always in racket sports to some extent throughout your entire career, or was there any blips where you went in a different path and then came back to tennis and then pickleball?
Yeah, so my first love was baseball. My father was, big fan of baseball. So, and I knew early on, and my father knew early on, I had somewhat of a talent, good hand-eye, fast, whatever. So my first love was always baseball. But then when I developed tennis, my parents always loved tennis. It was, kind of the 70s. They played a little bit and dabbed. And I was fortunate enough, my good friend in elementary school, his uncle ran a local tennis club. So I got exposure about the age of 8 or 9 to tennis, but club tennis, and I just fell in love.
Yeah.
And so for a while there was a parallel between tennis and baseball. And then my parents were really good at exposing me to everything else, basketball, soccer, which I'm a big advocate for parents to do, is give their kids 6 or 7 sports and then let it funnel down to that 1 or 2 so they're not specialized.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one, I completely agree with that. I think that pickleball is a super unique sport where so many different sports translate to it.
Yes.
And I think that's why it's taken off so much. With that being said, is Pickleball X like a private equity group, so to speak?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about pickleball? Obviously, so many of us talk about it blowing up, right? Talk about it being the next sport on top of the Big Five or the Big Four, so to speak. What was it about pickleball, the growth of it, even the equity that's being poured into it, to establish a private equity group like Pickleball X that sees pickleball facilities as a great investment today?
Right. It all starts with the community, right?
Yeah.
Tennis for many years had established that community from a rec level to a club level. So I think what we see with Pickleball X is that's kind of the setup and the dream here is to grab that rec level that we see at local parks and establishments that haven't had the indoor, and I mean true pickleball indoor experience compared to, having mobile nets on a gym floor or like a tennis facility that has mobile nets and, makeshift lines. But, a facility like this is a state-of-the-art 20 by 41 pro cushion court with great lighting and fencing. That's the step for Pickleball X, is to bring the rec and the pickleball community together at these places and give them the experience within the club.
Yeah.
That's really the mission of what we're trying to do.
So then my follow-up question would be, there is many franchises out there now in the pickleball space, as well as individual family-owned facilities that are, some of them doing well, some of them not doing well. Why invest in Pickleball Kingdom specifically over these other franchises?
Right. That was something the group did before I got on. They did their research of other franchises. I think the big thing with Pickleball Kingdom is there's 2 things. One, they do believe in community.
Yeah.
And that is this, not only from Pickleball X, but from Pickleball Kingdom. The other thing is the technology. If you look around, we have TVs per court, right?
I saw that.
And I don't know if we can see it, but we have iPads, we have buttons. So the technology, what they have now and what we're going to add down the road, it was a no-brainer. Because again, indoor facilities, you have the same court size, you have the nets, fencing, lights, but what's going to separate you? And we believe the drive of community, one that Pickleball Kingdom, has established and trying to establish, but the technology as well that they start with this foundation, as you see, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
It really is.
Is there anything because I agree with you, we're now in this position where there's a lot of nice facilities being created, right? A lot of good courts, lighting is good. Like you said, technology I think is a huge next step. Beyond that, is there anything structurally, whether it's from a program standpoint, et cetera, that a lot of these facilities are actually getting wrong, where there's a lot of these mom and pop shops that are stepping in saying, hey, pickleball's blowing up. This is a great investment to go and open up a facility. Maybe it has 2 courts, maybe it has 5. What are they missing that something like Pickleball Kingdom is having a lot of success with?
Yeah, so right off the bat, I call it the Kevin Costner effect, and that's the movie Field of Dreams, right? Everyone thinks if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Well, it's not true. And I think a lot of facilities within the last 2 or 3 years have tried to do that. They might have state-of-the-art, the best courts, the best lighting. They put all this time and effort into that, but they forget what really is the soul of a facility.
Yeah.
And bringing the community together, yes, that's important, but what brings the community together is the programming and the experience that you consistently do at a facility.
Yeah.
Running great open play, socials, just that vibe. When you walk in the door, you're happy to be there, not only because it's pickleball, but the group of people you've brought in and the culture you've set at the facility, that's what's going to separate everybody.
Yeah.
And it's really that simple, where you will have places that are doing well based on those principles. The ones not doing well, we'll forget about it.
So there's a facility that I was talking to locally too, that when I was trying to pick their brain on what were some of these other facilities missing, from a profitability standpoint, they told me that a magic number is 10 when it comes to courts. Is this true? Because I see we're sitting here, we have 11 courts, right? I'm pretty sure every Pickleball Kingdom has at least 10 courts or more.
Right.
Is that a true thing?
Yeah, it depends on what you want to do. For a franchise, yes, I think the magic number is 10 and up. And you got to watch it, right? If you have too many courts, that's a lot to manage. There's the formula to profitability. You can base it off square footage. It's real estate, right?
Yeah.
X amount of courts versus X amount of space is X amount of money you can make over time.
Yeah.
You can do that and look at an Excel sheet. However, when you go back and we talk about the early success and the ability to sustain success, is you got to focus on the top line.
Yeah.
Everyone's so preoccupied about the bottom line. And my philosophy's always been, whatever I've done, sports, whatever, is focus on the top line.
Yeah.
Get those things right. Look at, have that strategy. Focus on developing that strategy, the culture, the people, developing the community. Those things at the top line, if you focus and manage those, that bottom line will follow. That profitability, that experience, that growth will follow. But if you flip that, you're always focused on the bottom line, you foresee and forget about what gets you there.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
What it sounds like to me, which is in if you use like a marketing lens on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
People like to be guided and have a plan, right? So from a marketing standpoint, from a funnel standpoint, it's like, once I've accomplished something, what's next? Like, what do I do next? It sounds like to me, structure and guidance from the first time they step into this door is a huge thing in order for them to know the exact plan that they're going to go through to go from the 2-5 or below that they may be stepping in the door to them being the 4-0 player, competitive and open play.
Right. And that's the thing where pickleball does mirror tennis a bit with the rating system.
Yeah.
People here in pickleball, new to pickleball, they hear the term duper, right?
Yeah.
Go, oh my God, what's duper? Duper, yes, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of controversy. However, for clubs to leverage duper and use duper as a developmental process for everything for your programming, meaning everything when they step in, to get involved with duper, don't be afraid of it, but have your developmental path built for duper and your guidelines built for open play, your round robins built with it. It helps with that path where people say, hey, I'm here, I'm a 3.0 plus.
Yeah.
How do I get here?
Yeah.
Well, how to get there is here's what we have. And the programming is cohesive using duper. Duper's not going away. If anything, duper is at its early stages and it's hard. They're trying to gather all these people and the algorithm and the play, and it's always changing, as it should be.
Yeah.
When you see the future of duper, again, you go back to the historical data with the tennis industry. They did USTA, United States Tennis Association, and they had a USTA rating system. That rating system was forever, 40 years, to where when you step into a club, people talk about USTA, and you go, well, how do I do that? Well, you got to play. Oh, how do I play? So the same thing in pickleball, but the beauty thing about pickleball is there's more. Open play itself, right? If you can get a cohesive, organized group of people together, like this place, 11 courts, and divide them up by level, and someone goes, wow, 2 weeks ago I was over here on courts 1 and 2, but I did this clinic, I did this group, now I have improved my play to where I can compete now at a 3-5. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of pickleball.
Yeah, and where this is so smart is a lot of people that I talk to, because obviously I'm very involved in the pickleball space these days, that are coming in that are brand new. Let's say it's my mother to this point. I could actually use her as a true example. She goes in, she does a pickleball 101 class.
Right.
And then after that, it is like, what do I do next? Do I go take a lesson with a coach, which they dabble in? Right. But then it's covering the gap where like she's fearful of open play and may only play with her friends at the rec park because she's worried to be judged, feels like she doesn't have the skills yet to develop.
Right.
And if there was a gap there that can be covered, I feel like you'd streamline people to easily want to move into the duper system, because now they can see the progress that they're making. It's more of a measurement of progress than it is some status symbol.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's the thing where tennis, again, they started with the progress and development. Then, like anything else, there is a status to, hey, I'm a
Yeah.
4.5 or a 5.0.
They're always
However, from the club level, you mentioned the gap, right?
Yeah.
Pickleball 101, I come in, I've played a little bit of rec, I've hit in the gym, and then we have, what's this, 3.5, 3.0, open play. So
what is
what's
the
this
rating?
gap? So what we've developed at Pickleball Kingdom is a program called NextStep.
Yeah.
NextStep, it was developed basically on a mission by our CEO to say, hey, come up with a package deal for people just starting out.
Yeah.
A package deal. So as a member or non-member with that pricing, you can get a selection of, we do it three ways. It's three things: a fundamentals class, a kitchen class, and a coached open play. With those classes, those three classes, when that member or potential member comes out of that class, they know how to play.
Yeah.
They can go to an open play. So once they do 101, we hook them with that, and then they decide if they're not members, at least they've developed to where they can play pickleball and put a paddle in the rack. So that's kind of the rallying cry with NextStep is get the player to where they can go to any open play in the country or the world and just put a paddle in a rack, and they know what to do.
Yeah.
That should be the mission. And if you just marginalize it to just a club, well, when they go to a different club, they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. But if you do it as on a general, they will learn and respect, and more importantly, that will attract more people to come in for your programming. People go, oh, wow, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
Look, we do these three things. It's 4 hours, 3 classes. Come in, and let's prepare you for your pickleball journey.
It sounds like the two big pillars are both guidance, meaning kind of like a step-by-step playbook, as well as community to find success. So if we were to dive into community a little bit more, because I think this is what gets a little bit misunderstood. Like developing a good community, what are like the characteristics of that or the pillars that you need in order to build a good community at a pickleball facility?
Right. So the pickleball community, it is what it is, right? It could be everything from the ravage player, the rec player, the new player. But the community is, again, it's bringing a large herd of people together, organizing them. The pillars, I would just really say, is, when we develop a club, you look at really 3 sections. You're looking at generations, right?
Yeah.
You look at baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, just for those examples.
Yeah.
You've got that column. The other column, when I look at a pillar of community, then I look at the level. So the way to grade your club is with those 2 columns. What generation is your top? I would say, 4 or 5 years ago, it was baby boomer, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that your community, your programming and everything would have to shift to community because the majority were baby boomer. Now you're seeing Gen X came in, like myself, I'm a Gen X guy, and we're coming in. We're coming in tennis, we're coming in with different sports, but then you got these millennials, and then you got the Gen Z who are coming in, and the Gen Z is the most important generation, and I'll tell you why. They will be the ones to lead the community because they've started out in their 20s, right?
Yeah.
They've started just like my parents did in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, playing tennis, to where as I was born, those parents did what? We want to get them into tennis.
Yeah.
So then the late 80s boom of the tennis in USA, that's, to me, the major pillar of pickleball for the next 15, 20 years will be the Gen Z and millennials who are playing this game on 3 to 4 days a week. Once they have kids, what are they going to want to do?
Yeah.
And, that's the whole other subject is, really pickleball hasn't even tapped into the youth program yet. There is a code to break.
Yeah.
We are constantly looking at it. It is a challenge for us in Southern Ohio.
Yeah.
But we're looking at it, breaking the code throughout Pickleball X and Pickleball Kingdom.
I think it'll be really cool to see how that plays out, meaning the youth generation that is now coming in, they are no doubt taking it and grabbing it by the reins and running with it like wildfire, right? But how does that shape? Meaning, when I think about, I'm a hockey background.
Yeah.
When I think about like travel hockey, completely different than like if you're saying in-town football, completely different. I would just say actually similar to soccer. I would say soccer and hockey kind of follow a similar demographic from a youth standpoint. Like, do you see it moving into travel teams where you have these travel teams competing against clubs? Each club has their own type of youth program. They have their own team. They have their competitive team as well as each team below that. Do we see it following like the AAU, even basketball standpoint? I think it was, may have been CFC in soccer.
Yeah.
And then in hockey, you kind of have like your tier 1, tier 2 programs. Do you see it following that route?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways. You know, MLP is big, Major
Yeah.
League Pickleball, and that format, number one, is great to watch. Number two, it's phenomenal playing. I've done MILP, which is the amateur, and that's what really hooked me on pickleball. But that format and that magic of having a team, I think, is what's going to propel not only the adult side, locally, when you talk about community. You know, here's the other thing with community is when you have multiple clubs opening, which will happen, you've got to come together, right? And to make associations of inter-club. And that will generate so much play, business, and just the pickleball game in itself. With that being said, if you look on the youth side, to answer that question, yes. I mean, what kid, number one, pickleball, you play doubles more than singles, right? Yeah. Especially us old guys. I hit a couple.
Gen X isn't too old.
I know, but it's not. I always say it's not the age; it's the mileage. And I have a lot of mileage from other sports. However, that's the attraction for kids. I can be on a team. I can have a partner. I have a doubles partner, to where now they have a team like MLP, where you have really 4 people. You could probably have 8 as a roster. That will be attraction for not only kids but parents. Because look what their kids are doing. They're actually doing something, but they're doing it in a team format where tennis, again, that history of tennis was great, but it was what? It's a single. Junior tennis, you did a lot of doubles, but to progress, you played a lot of singles most of the time. It was more of a 70-30. Yeah. For pickleball, it's flipped. It's an 80-20. Most of the kids are playing doubles, which is great because it develops the singles game as well. So that team format for the juniors is going to be massive.
So if you, Pickleball X, obviously you're doing a lot of projections, especially as a private equity group.
Right.
What are we seeing as like the 3 to 5 things? It seems like youth is one of them, right? These youth competitive programs that all their pickleball facilities, as well as Pickleball Kingdom, is looking at as here is where we need to invest in, or even get exposure to from a marketing standpoint, so that we can have growth continuously over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Right. So the big thing with the juniors is the junior program, and the establishment of really with those juniors is the Junior MLP. So the juniors is our focus on that. Getting that going in. The other thing with the adults, again, it goes to on a local level with inter-clubs and more of a national level. We have Pickleball USA. Yeah. You've got all these associations that need to come together, make one, and have a governing body to develop the national side of pickleball to where MLP style club, USTA, like in tennis again, to where if the season starts nationally in the wintertime, say February, or just let's go say, I don't know, October, and you run October all the way through March, and there's a season, you're playing other clubs, but it's a national thing, ratings, the scoring, to where you can then go from a district level to a sectional level to more of a, Midwest, then to a national level. So those are the things we look to invest in locally for adults, meaning the interclub and being ready when USA announces the team format, the juniors. And then I think the other thing we're investing in is the programming. When we say programming, it's like, okay, there's more to just open play. The developmental path for, clinics and all that. But really, your social and your round robins, right? Pickleball is fun because it's quick, right? We focused on in Centerville, Ohio, on an MLP style called the Kingdom Clash. Okay. And it was a test on, okay, we're going to use that format and try just to attract local. We ended up with 10 teams. And it was really neat to see that we could pull this off, but not only pull it off for a weekend of time, but this could be the format we choose to go moving forward for interclub. And hopefully USA Pickleball adapts as well. So if we guess this correctly, we'll be ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Are you guys having conversations with like USA Pickleball about stuff like that?
We have not. I'm sure there's conversations. That's something USA Pickleball should be
Trying to get a bunch of input about.
right
Yeah.
input. And again, with all these clubs opening within the last 3 years, and I think in the next 2 to 3, we should have some establishment of that national. And again, it would be, in my opinion, it's USA Pickleball and DUPA coming together with that rating system to where it's nationally known, to where there is a path for leagues for the rec player coming into club, right? That's what's happened the last 5 or 6 years. It's been rec,
Yeah.
be it from outdoor to a gymnasium to now you're in a nice facility.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take that rec player, make him into a club player, but you need a little help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about kind of building on the conversation, like looking at the future, we're currently in Manchester, Connecticut. There's a reason, obviously, that not only Pickleball Kingdom, but Pickleball X decided to choose this area as a facility in Connecticut.
Right.
Is there other hotbeds that you guys are recognizing that may be, I'll say, overlooked? Because I don't think Connecticut specifically would be on many people's radars when they're looking at hotbeds. But like, what may be some of those other overlooked hotbeds that you guys are seeing across the nation?
Right. So you look at a seasonal aspect of it, right? Again, where Pickleball Kingdom came from was Arizona. And people go, well, why would you need a pickleball indoor? Well, it's hot, right? That's the other side of the coin. It's hot. I need coverage. I need to be cool.
Air conditioning, yeah.
Right. To where you go to the other side of the coin, which you have like the Midwest and up here in the Northeast, man, it gets cold.
Yeah.
I mean, we're experiencing the weather yesterday and today, to where you have this demand, right? And it really comes down, it's simple real estate 101, supply and demand.
Yeah.
Find where the demand is and see where the supply is at. And then you find those locations based off that. And then it's location, location, location. If the demand's not there, not saying you don't want to go there, but you might want to look somewhere else. But to me, it's the indoor facilities are going to boom in the cold weather areas. Simple as that. Midwest. And let's not forget, it's not so much with pickleball about the temperature, right? Or the sun. It's the wind. I lived up in Cleveland for about 20 years. And so I started my pickleball journey outside with my son, just playing singles. Like, this is a fun game. He learned it in gym, right? But what we learned was, it kind of sucks. It's windy. So where's an indoor club?
It's a completely different game.
But that's how I got started. Ran into a longtime tennis pro, said we have an indoor. I'm like, whoa, indoor facility for pickleball? Sweet. That's what I mean. You have to remember, at the end of the day, at a rec level, club level, and a pro level, you are hitting a modified wiffle ball. And we're seeing on the pro level, there's conditions where, be it in California, Florida, Arizona, it gets windy, man, to where they're converting some of these outdoor facilities to semi-indoor to control the wind. So again, it really comes down to supply and demand and location.
The last thing that I want to talk to about from like where you guys may be seeing future investments is, I think it's called the Pickleball Paddle Battle. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The reality TV that we're going to be doing within the Pickleball Kingdom community.
Right.
Why was that a chosen avenue? Because it's super interesting.
Right.
It's definitely really cool.
Right.
But why was that a chosen avenue as like a way for Pickleball Kingdom to get exposure?
I can tell you that was the brainchild of our CEO, Ace Rodriguez. It was just announced about a week ago, and it's been hitting a lot of social sites and everything. We know very little about it, besides what pretty much you probably know is what it is. It's basically the Housewives of Pickleball with Pickleball Kingdom. And the experience from beginning to end, being the end, traveling and playing pickleball, local tournaments and what have you.
So is it like, is the way that I thought I saw it framed at first, is like, is there like a route to the pros here to some extent? Like, do you get a contract at the end of this, or is it just like, I'm intermingling in a house like MTV Real World and then playing pickleball at the same time?
It sounds like it. Again, we just got it. I don't know all the details, but it does seem like an MTV Real World. To where, again, don't quote me on this, but a couple can win a franchise. I believe something like that. Do not quote me on that. But I know at the end of the rainbow, there's a bucket of gold. I don't know the full
You're winning
details.
something of
Yes.
a lot of that.
But I think the big thing out of this is seeing the journey.
Yeah.
That it's like everybody watches, the reality TV stuff, no matter what the subject matter is the journey from the first episode to the last. And it's really the intention and obstacle that drives a story anyways.
Yeah.
So what's the intention here? Does that player want to get good or they want to get a franchise? What's the obstacle? Well, you got to play.
Yeah.
You got to learn. So that's going to be really the story arc that I foresee of this show moving forward. But then the exposure of Pickleball Kingdom being the one driving it will be, fun to watch.
I think it's just a really good marketing play as a whole.
Absolutely.
I think it's just so unique, right? It's a
Right.
huge separator. It's obviously already creating a bunch of buzz on social media
Absolutely.
to talk about. So I think sometimes the outside the box extreme creativity does better in the marketing world than you think.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, this idea, I think it's just what makes this idea great is, sometimes, again, growing up, in the time that I did, we were told that phrase, since I was 5th or 6th grade, think outside the box, think outside the box. To where as I got older, by the time I was in my 20s, it had flipped where, we were thinking so far outside the box that we forget about focusing on the box itself.
Delicate balance.
Yes, I think this is what this idea, it's very simple. It's a reality TV show that will show beginning to end, and we're looking at the intentions of the players and what obstacles they have.
Yeah.
That is the focus on. To me, it's a great idea because it's so simplistic. And my question is, why has anybody else done it? So hats off to our CEO of Pickleball Kingdom, Ace Rodriguez. Great idea, and I know how he is. He's very passionate about pickleball. If this is his brainchild, he's going to drive this all the way home. It's going to be fun to watch.
So we have one closing question on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine that we started it off with a failure, and we end each one with a fear.
Oh, yeah.
So moving forward, what is your greatest fear?
Fear, I would say the greatest fear of these I live with every day is these places fail. They fail the expectations. We were failing on not only providing expectations, but the membership that we're cultivating or the community. Are we getting it right? That is constantly on my mind at every facility that I'm with or touch. Not only how we can make things better, but are we doing it right?
Yeah.
To build not for a week, 60 days, 90 days, but we're talking 5, 10, 15 years out. That is the fear. Yeah. It is the unknown. But like I said, the magic sauce that I believe is to look at the past.
Yeah.
Take that and include it with what we have current now with pickleball to where that can drive us to kind of give us a blueprint forward.
Yeah.
But the fear, it's fear is a driver. The fear of failure, right? Every day that some people crumble, but then some people, you got to stand up every day, and that's your main drive. I don't want to fail. I don't want these clubs to fail. I don't want to, fail the community, pickleball community too. There's nothing worse than opening up a club and, have a community being frustrated or upset. They're not happy with that experience.
I don't know if this connection makes any sense, but you could tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like your shoulder injury and bouncing back from that and moving forward through something that was probably a pivotal moment in your life is why you choose to run through fear and do it despite fear today?
Oh, absolutely. Is the biggest thing someone can have or go through is have something and then it's taken away for a period of time. Because we take, it's, a lot of pride. You can call it being cocky. Yeah. But when something's pulled away, you do humble a little bit. Yeah. And you look at it. I took for granted a certain talent that I had. And there was a time where I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever get back. And in some degree, I haven't. To where, hitting a forehand was as easy as just taking a step forward. Where now, even in pickleball, there's a little bit of thought to it. So that would be the biggest thing is it was for me, not to take things for granted and be a little bit more humble, but also be aware of what's been given and cherish that. Simple as that.
I think that's a great way to close it.
Yeah.
Travis, thank you so much for coming on the podcast
Thank you for having me, man.
I mean,
Great hitting session, by the way.
Yeah. I was gonna say, for anybody listening, like we hit before this guy's no slouch. He hits a perfectly fine forehand. I know he's thinking about it, but the forehand's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Can roll the two-y, roll the forehand, can hit the cut drops.
I appreciate that.
It's just really good out there. But either way, I mean, you just give so much insight today onto what the current pickleball landscape is like.
Right.
And even for like, there's a lot of facilities listening that are totally also struggling, that are going to pull something away from that.
Sure.
That may help them also be successful.
Right. And that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's going to be competition, but at the end of the day, it is the community of pickleball. Let's grow it together. And any information we can give to help that, why not share it? You know, don't keep it in the vault.
Yeah.
Put it in the elevator, push it down to people who need it, and so we can grow the game, grow the facilities, and, you know, make people happy.
Because in that retrospect, like the total addressable market right now is so large.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep growing. Like if that can be more of a teamwork aspect, the demand, to your point, is there. Right? It's not like you're fighting for similar resources, right? It's more about how do we, as you mentioned earlier on, to give the audience something that you keyed in on, was like, how do we, one, get them in the door, which a lot of them are coming in the door naturally, but then how are we giving them a roadmap that allows them to stay? It's more like not forcing them to stay. It's that makes them want to stay because they know they're progressing, which I think that's a huge takeaway out of our conversation today.
Right.
So thank you for so much, all the value that you've given today. It was a
More than
really nice
welcome.
conversation and being vulnerable. So
Yeah, you know, I try to be as honest as I can, right? But I appreciate it. Thank you so much.